cable news show for 10 years and counting. The O'Reilly Factor.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Impact segment tonight. As we told you at the top of the program, the whole nation is engaged in this O'Reilly View Muslim debate, which is a good thing. So how is it playing on talk radio? Joining us now from Washington, Mark Levine, liberal radio talk show host on WPFW. And from Los Angeles, Tammy Bruce, who hosts an internet chat show. So, Tammy, what are you hearing and reading from people you deal with?
Well, the first reaction was when they left the set, suddenly the view became watchable when it was just you and Barbara and the other gals. The second reaction was they all should have left, leaving it just for you, so it would have been the factor in the afternoon, making it perfectly watchable. Right. People were thrilled. I mean, they were thrilled. And it clearly was, it seemed like a stunt to people, but they loved how you handled it. It clearly addressed the issue of political correctness, which is ridiculous, as you've mentioned throughout the show, perfectly well, kind of a ridiculous complaint. And I think it's kind of like a car wreck, that show. It's like you slow down to watch it, and you were like the ambulance that came, and people kind of had a sigh of relief that somebody's going to be there to save them. And they went on with it again today because they know even you, the ghost of you, gives them bigger ratings. So everyone was amused.
I mean, that show's fairly successful.
They were thrilled with what you did.
How about you, Mr. Levine, from the liberal precincts?
Well, my liberal listeners were thrilled as well, though for exactly opposite reasons. They thought that Joy and Whoopi were absolutely right to walk out. They felt that the walkout forced your apology, and they were glad to hear your apology.
Did they understand my apology was not about what I said? It was about if somebody took it the wrong way, that was not my intention. But I'll stand by what I said all day long. Muslims killed us on 9/11, and there is a huge Muslim problem in the world. Do your listeners refute there is a huge Muslim problem in the world?
Bill, there are all kinds of huge problems in the world. We understand there's a huge intra-Muslim battle. And the worst thing possible is to throw all of them together.
Okay.
I mean, let's face it. I could say on the air, Christians committed the Holocaust.
Mark. Okay. Would they have said the same thing then about the Japanese? Look. Tojo and those guys, they hijacked that government, and they basically did what they wanted. But most of the Japanese people didn't want that. I mean,
and that's true of
Iran
today. That's true of Iran today. I think you'll find the most pro-American people in the Middle East are the Iranian people, even though they're led by a bunch of dangerous whack jobs who might blow up Israel.
There are enough Iranians, and the polls show this, that support the crazy mullahs for them to maintain power. If all of the people...
The vast majority don't, Bill. You know that.
No. It's a secret police state, but just like the Shah, they would be overthrown if the majority of people didn't want them there. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't understand a liberal mindset. When you give example after example after example, and it's still, it's only a few people. Now, Tammy, you used to be a liberal. Do you understand the mindset?
Well, the first element is that America's always wrong, and that's, of course, incorrect, of course. But the second dynamic is this is where the failure is that by us not addressing it specifically as a Muslim problem, it kind of takes the emphasis off of the issue needing to be dealt with within the Muslim community, which is why this thing continues on. But the liberal mindset is this refusal to acknowledge that something might not be our fault and that there's something, look, we can't solve this issue. Muslims have to solve the issue, and the only way to do that is to make sure that everybody knows really who's at issue here, and it certainly isn't us.
Is there an Israel component in this, Mr. Levine?
No.
Yes? No?
Look, as a liberal on the panel here, I'd like to give the liberal mindset. The liberal mindset is we want to stop terrorists from killing us. And we know that an overreaction to hate all Muslims caused more Muslims to hate us.
But
we
who
understand,
hates
we
all
liberals,
Muslims?
that there's
Who
not a
does
set
that?
number of terrorists out there.
But who hates all Muslims?
And if we condemn all Muslims, we're going to get more terrorists out there.
That's a nice speech. But I don't know anybody outside of that nut in Florida who we just, hammered on this program, who wanted to burn the Koran. Who hates all Muslims? Who? Me? Do I hate all Muslims? That's insane.
I don't think you hate all Muslims, Bill, but look, what you said is true only in a technical sense, right? I wouldn't say Christians bomb abortion clinics, even though the people who bomb abortion clinics profess Christianity and do it in the name of Christianity.
Mr. Levine, I've heard this before. Wait a minute. Would you say that if a nation harbored abortion bombers, an entire nation harbored them, then you would be accurate to say that Afghanistan under the Taliban, a theocracy, harbored Al-Qaeda, an entire nation run by Muslims.
Run by Muslim
Don't
dictators called the Taliban. That's correct.
Yeah.
And if you want to attack the Taliban or Afghanistan or Al-Qaeda, I'm fine with it. If you want to attack the Nazis, I'm fine with it. But when you know, we didn't say, we talked about this months ago, Mr. O'Reilly, we didn't say the Germans. We said the Nazis. Because we understood there was nothing inherently about Germans.
And there were terrible slang words for Germans. I'm going to give Tammy the last word.
But that was wrong, too. You shouldn't tar all Germans for the Nazis. You shouldn't tar our Christians for the abortion.
Nobody's doing that.
Look,
go ahead, Tammy.
We've tried the liberal way for 2 years, and just today there's a recognition that we're at a terror threat now that is similar to pre-9/11. So bowing to Muslim nations and saying it's all our fault, we got to get over that narcissism. That guy called Barack Obama. You know, so when you do that, we found that it's made the terror threat. Excuse me. The terror threat has gone up, and Europe knows it, and we know it. That's what it's gotten us.
All right, I got to go.
I got to go. Recognize that distinction.
Interesting
between
discussion.
Muslims and terrorists.
But there is a huge gulf, and I think this debate shows it, between the liberal mindset on this threat and the conservative or traditional mindset. Thanks very much. Reality.